Obligatory mic check. Let's see if it actually is streaming. It's a good sign. Can I hear anything is the real question. Good. Alright. Alright, just thought I'd do a random stream. Gonna be doing some Apex. So, yeah. And if anyone for some reason just pops on and thinking, holy shit, he's still alive, what the fuck's up with this? He decides to tell us now that he is on stream after probably months of silence. Well, you'd be right to ask that question. Where the hell have I been? Simple answer, life, life, life. Okay, I guess I'm going on this solo. That's fine with me. Did I mute everyone? Yeah. Oh, well, I guess I'm going to crypto.
Today is gonna be our day.
Not particularly good with crypto, but... Joel is on. What is up, Joel?
This is your champion. Try not to blink.
Joel's probably thinking, wow, that's a bat blast from the past.
Follow me. I'm the jump master.
Naturally, of course, I'm the jump master.
Now this is what I'm looking for.
Get prepared. We're going in.
Joel says, when are we gonna play? Good question, Joel. I just did this just out of the spring of the moment type thing. Don't know. I might be down to play sometime tonight, Joel. Perhaps. Oh, crap. Sometime tonight would probably be... I could probably do sometime tonight. If there is somehow anybody still on who is subscribed to me and just pops on and is just like, oh, wow, he's still alive. Thank you, and welcome back.
Attention. First blood.
Alright.
Firing. Hey, I'm getting shot.
Let me see if I can mess with my settings real quick.
Watch out, brother. We get another squad. Killed an enemy. Recharging shields.
Okay. That's all well and good, which is nice.
Shots fired at me. Battling the enemy. I have fallen. Contact with target.
I apologize to any quote-unquote pro players who are watching this who are probably thinking, wow, this dude sucks ass.
Grenade.
Typically, whenever I stream, I'm usually terrible, so take that as you will. Joel can very much attest to that.
Shield cell here.
Joel says, well, your team is dying already. That tends to be the case, Joel. That tends to always be the case. Speaking of which, Joel, when was the last time you actually played Apex? Surprised my team is actually staying alive like they are.
Hostile close.
Never mind, where are the... Okay.
The battle belongs to only us now.
Okay. Wait, where did they go? Months ago, yeah, I figured as much. When was the last time you actually played a game, Joel? That's the real question.
Our brethren's fight is not over. I am taking fire. I am down but alive.
If any of you are unfamiliar with Joel's channel and are somehow familiar with me, first off, why? Second of all, check out Joel Davis, because you'll see him go through the entirety of Kingdom Hearts, and you'll see me do that as well with him.
60 seconds left. The ring's very close.
Alright, the likelihood of me getting to them is next to none. Weeks ago with Squadrons. Did you actually finish Squadrons? I actually haven't finished it. Dude, I'm trying. Give me a moment.
45 seconds. It's time to go.
So, long story short, check out Joel Davis's channel, who I also believe has not streamed or done anything in also quite a while. I have no armor, so that likely means I am gonna die very quickly.
Got the banner. I'm not giving up on them.
I'll take that. Not good, not good, not good, not good, not good. Zigzag, zigzags. I really actually need to get back in and actually play Squadrons because I started it and I barely touched it. Wasn't a bad game. Just wanted to learn the controls at some point. Okay, and we need to get a move on, so you're all are welcome. Please don't die again.
Here comes Gibraltar. It was not my time.
I am also slowly anticipating the release of the new Apex season, which is part of the reason I'm actually playing this. Joel and I will actually probably stream that because there's a new map that I'm quite excited for. Been waiting for a new map for quite a while now, so be real nice to have something new to play. Not necessarily that Apex is stagnant or not fun, because it is. It's just finally glad to have some new content from time to time. Joel says BRB. Alright, Joel. Oh, that's not good. Alright, let's see.
Throwing Oxstar. Throwing Oxstar. Grenade out. Throwing thermal.
And that is what we call a slaughter.
Keep it.
Enemy spotted.
Okay. Alright, let's try that again.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Oh wow, okay. Wow, that was creepy.
Listen.
Hey Joel, if you want to jump on, feel free to. Okay, apparently my connection might not be the best, but you know.
We're going to do beautiful things together.
Joel says I'd love to, but I got lunch with a friend in an hour. That's alright.
Me ain't afraid of much, but losing, that would be a drag.
I'm probably gonna make myself look like a really noobish person, but for whatever reason I can't see the red coins in the menu when I play Apex. I don't know if that's a glitch or if that's just they've removed that for some reason. So if anyone wants to tell me if that's the case or not, please do so.
Come on, let's see if we're a match.
Alright.
Make each round count.
Let's land here. Guns are that. Let's land here.
Got a skin bag out there.
Supply ship over there. I say we land here. Forget that.
Okay, this dude's taking his time. I'm not interested.
Never mind. This might be a good place to land.
Okay, is this dude just gonna kill us? Thank you. Alright, where are we? Yeah, no. Typically, anytime I get taken to the edge of the map is a good indicator that I'm about to die. Also, quite excited for when Memory comes out for Kingdom Hearts Melody and Memory to see what that ends up looking like. Nice. Joel, does the new episode of The Mandalorian airs on Friday, right? Is that the release schedule?
Listen up, we're spread out to this. What's your map?
Is that how Mandalorian's releasing? Yes, Fridays. Okay, good. That's what I thought. That was not what I meant to pick up, but you know. Good, I cannot wait to see what, how many episodes is it this season? Are they still doing the 8 per season type thing, or do they up it to like 9 or so? Eight, okay. So that has remained unchanged, not surprising. Have they put a hold on any of the new, like, actual, like, Cassian when that was actually... Is it the next thing that's due technically for Star Wars? Yeah, talk about finding crap. Alright. I think Cassian's on the schedule for filming. What is next then? Did Kenobi technically... Did Kenobi get pushed back, or is Kenobi still in pre-production? Oh, Kenobi's next? Was it Kenobi was so Cassian back? Like, what happened with
We've got
that?
30 seconds to get to the next ring. If you go down, I'm not carrying you.
Map show was spread out to be marked.
Kill leader appointed.
There's a new kill leader.
COVID, okay.
I'll kill you myself.
So did Cassian just get pushed back, just being on the horizon then? Is that what's going on? What the heck is that? Oh.
I'm home in the shadows.
Joel, apparently, being casting on 2022 release, okay. Huh. I wonder if that's if Marvel's essentially going to do that, or if they're going to try to push out Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and frickin' Eternals in the same in 2021, or if they're going to push it back to 2022.
While there's a
I'm curious what they end up doing with Marvel at that point. That that was a mistake.
activating jump drive.
Listen up, I'm getting shot at.
That was a close call.
Reloading. Airstrike coming above. Listen up, I'm down.
Get over here.
Up there close.
Alright, Alright, fine. I guess I'm gonna go try to save them. Even though that usually ends up with me getting killed.
Contact with target.
I'm coming, don't worry.
Just you and me, girlie. We could skip the match, drag down my brain.
Never mind.
Shut you up real good.
Don't drive out.
Shut it down.
Today is E-Day. Yes, it is, Joel. It is very much Election Day. And I will take this time to tell anybody who somehow watches this, even though I highly doubt anyone is going to watch this, considering how long I've been off the air. Go out and vote. Your vote counts. Make it count. You can go out and vote. Go find your place. Oh, that's not good.
Another squad's attacking. Reload. Tossing an arc star.
Well,
Has defeated your sharp sword. Battle is more than skill.
so yeah, go out and vote. Make the vote count. BRB again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Getting some more Apex packs. Hang on 1 second. Let me check settings. I sincerely hope that people can't hear me shit talking, because I particularly would not like to hear my squad hear me essentially shit talking. You know, speaking of shit talking, I don't know if anybody who has ever watched me knows this, but I am an English major. One of the concurrent things that I'm dealing with at the moment is the idea.
Enough flirting. Save it for when we win.
Anyway, the idea that I'm dealing with is English being the most inconsistent thing ever in the history of anything. Now, before I have some people who are like, well, this language is inconsistent, this language is inconsistent. Yes, there are other inconsistent languages out there. I'm not saying there aren't. But the thing that I'm curious about is, like, we continuously shit talk people, but at the same time, I have to wonder, like, how many insults that we use were technically said in a different way in the past? Like, what was the previous way of saying, like, stick it up to the man or screw you? Like, what were the, like, old English insult equivalents? Because as a culture, we, like, culture change, shift, and what have you. That's not what I wanted to do. And I learned I cannot play to save my life today. Anyway. As inconsistent as English is, I have to wonder if, like, how many insults are we saying legitimately that hasn't been taken from pretty much any other language? Like, how many insults have been taken from other languages? Because since the English culture is a thing, how much of that language and how many of its insults are actually still a thing in other languages? I think it ultimately comes down to... Oh, hey. These are still a thing. What do you know? Anyway. What was that saying? Oh yeah, English being inconsistent. Anyway. So how many insults, I wonder, did English actually make itself all over the place with this language talk? But I have to wonder how many insults in the English language have been made our own? Like, I highly doubt the word fuck was an English-only thing, especially given how it translates to other languages. So I'm guessing the real question is, where do words like fuck actually originate from? Because I highly doubt the Germans or Italians, the Japanese or whatever, were the first to develop the language. So what was the first language to develop these kinds of inherent insults? Actually, better yet, what was the first insult in any sort of language? I know that's next to impossible to consider. Or actually, I should say, it's impossible to figure out, given that a lot of languages, the first ever true insult probably was never really recorded, since the only true records we have of anything ever that dating that far back would be during the times of Mesopotamia. So I wonder if there's any, like, insults from Mesopotamia that we still carry to this day. Joel says massive anxiety all day. I feel that, man. I feel that. But seriously, I have to wonder, like, what was the first insult that became widespread? Are there any insults from, like, Mesopotamia, from, like, a Mesopotamian background that we still carry today? Or is literally everything that could be Mesopotamian just gone out in terms of what could be usable? So I guess the true thought process is, how much of what are the oldest aspects of the English language? What is the original Yo Mama joke? Exactly, Joel. Joel's asking the real questions here. At what point did an insult? Because I'm pretty sure when the first insult, like in the once language became a thing, like what exactly was like the first thing that caused someone to go, "How dare you say that to me? That's the most offensive thing I've ever heard." Like, what was the first occur? Oh crap!
Frag out.
Down the hostile on Scotty.
Reloading.
Reloading. Took out the hostile.
We're already inside the next ring.
Apparently, can be a clutch player, as it turns out. Hey, teammate. Really? I get. Oh, thank you.
Down the hostile on Scotty.
Okay, what was I saying before I got interrupted? Oh yeah, what's the oldest insult of the English language? And by oldest insult, I mean the first genuine insult of our language. I'm not talking about a borrowed insult from another language. So that probably excludes a lot of curse words.
Reloading.
Ass, shit, fuck, whatever. Because pretty much any other language can translate that and still uses them. So is it just the case that the English people are just borrowed any other insult? And if that's not the case, then what are the actual English insults that that the English people have created? I realize talking about that in an American standpoint is also is probably the stupidest thing ever, given how many different cultures call America home. So probably trying to trace that back is also probably hard as hell, given how many different cultures interact with the U.S. in general. That makes trying to trace what insult state from what probably almost impossible. What is the first Native American insult? That's an even more interesting question, because the other issue, especially as far as Native Americans are concerned, is how much of that stuff was actually recorded. Like, a lot of the Native American languages are oral, and not a lot of them were ever written down. They're starting to be written down, of course, in terms of preserving said languages. But the saddest thing is to think that maybe the first Native American insult might be lost to time, which is a rather sad prospect, unfortunately. That should be something that someone should start, like the insult history book. History of insults. I would love that. That would be a great class to teach. Imagine the first penis measuring contest by naked cavemen. You know, Joel, I realize the joke, but that also makes me want to consider even something else. And anybody who somehow stumbles upon to me talking all of this are probably wondering, what kind of philosophical nut jobs did I walk into? And I really don't know. But anyway, Naked Caveman. So, when did masculinity start becoming a thing? Like, when did the cavemen just start beating their chest and whatnot and start considering this is what it means to be something? They didn't have the, like, did the idea for toxic masculinity predate the idea of being a man?
Shield battery here.
I think masculinity came in with the Victorian era. I imagine that's probably where it first came to be defined. But I mean, actually, in the defined state, sure, Joel. Granted, I know the Victorian era ruined all that fun. To be fair, Joel, the other thing with the Victorian era is, like, masculinity was also a thing in Shakespeare's plays. And I'm not talking Romeo and Juliet. It's a thing in Hamlet, though. But think of plays like Cymbeline, Twelfth Night, all things like that that show varying different threads of masculinity. Two Gentlemen of Verona, characters like Proteus, who is a very, very problematic character, especially in the terms of masculinity. But that stuff's to wonder, like, when did those seeds really start to spread? I guess the true question behind that would be having to figure out where the patriarchy actually started developing. When did society start to become male-dominated? And I know the easy answer is, like, it was always male-dominated from the get-go. And while that's true, when did, like, the concept of being a male first start up? Like, when did the cavemen get together and be like, man, man, man? Now, I highly doubt that. Now, of course, that's not exactly... They definitely didn't say that, but when did that concept become known, I wonder? Because every idea has to have an origin. Sometimes it's not always traceable, but I have to imagine that some parts of the English language, especially in terms of how conceptions are raised, they all have to come from a source. The problem with the United States in general is that that source comes from many different cultures, a lot of which are Indo-European. Which to both a good and bad effect has been impactful. Just a...
The gods will bless us both this day.
But anyway, back on my whole tirade about insults. In terms of, like, English and having insults, because Lord knows Shakespeare was a great proponent of having very many creative insults. But of course, what was the first English insult that was its own? Joel says, if you're free later this week, cool, I'd be happy to play. I might be. I'd have to get back to you on that. Because I've also got... This is actually the first time I've ever walked this. I'd have to get back to you on that, Joel, because depending on what gets done and what doesn't, I may or may not be able to. Oh, crap. Oh, come on! I was enjoying that! Anyway. So anyway, back to the idea of the first English insult. The first English insult would have to be a stringing together of... Especially if we're to get rid of certain curse words. So if that's the case, what predates using curse words as standard insults?
Care package being delivered.
Now, of course, when you factor this in, you have to factor in a lot of insults that originated from TV and whatnot. Now, that also isn't to say that a lot of those insults guys did not start it. They probably started in the other.
Scanning the area. Hostile
they were likely worded in different different formats.
We're already inside
Like
the
Joel
next ring.
pointed out, that like the Yo
Better be
Mama
some
joke.
good loot around here.
Throwing thermite.
The truth of the matter is that the Yo Mama joke probably was around before it was called a Yo Mama joke. Yep, well, we got someone.
Thermite out.
All Father, give me sight. Someone traveled through here recently.
I apologize to certain people that I'm, for whatever reason, I'm not seeing. Because I'm only looking at the YouTube comments, so if you're not watching me on YouTube, chances are, and you're not commenting through YouTube, chances are I'm not seeing it.
I spotted.
So I apologize for that in advance. Speaking of the idea of language and insults, I have to wonder if there are any insults that people today currently use that aren't actually insults anymore. Like, is there anything that we currently say that would have been insulting at one point but now no longer is?
In combat.
Now I realize that's a loaded prospect to actually answer, especially considering, uh-oh.
Got trouble here. Must go faster.
Sorry, I have to concentrate.
Scanning the area.
Alright, they're definitely not going to come from that way, so just to be on the safe side, I am... This is probably a huge waste, but whatever.
Tossing thermite.
So, insults that are no longer insults.
We have the
Now,
Care package being delivered.
big, yes, considering a lot of things that would be considered
favor from the
to some degree probably are no longer considered offensive. Just like how certain words become offensive once culturally it becomes
Got an enemy out there.
the accepted norm that the meaning behind the insult is not a...
Way up there.
Oh, not good, not good, not good.
Fire.
Alright. Man, it would be amazing to have, like...
Recharging my shields. We're already in the next ring. Good. More time to loot.
Alright, so... Uh-oh.
I'm down.
See if my team can win this. And they have a Watson, naturally. Man, this is trying. He is trying. He's trying for it. Oh. And we're dead. We're dead. Let's go Nightwalk's actually doing a pretty damn good job though. I'll give him that. From what's, I wonder what culture, what ideas like that are very apparent today became of history. And not even just beyond like male, female, like when the gender roles become an expected part. or accepted part. But like, when did other cultural ideas become? Oh, come on, dude, you've got this. You've got this. I'm timed out already. Well. Dude's fighting for dear life. Ah, man, you tried. You tried. That was a hell of a try, dude. That was a hell of a try.
I got some bad guys here.
Alright. Gaining that experience. I have to wonder when cultural ideas like started taking form. Trying to think of, now the thing is, I'm trying to think of actual examples of cultural ideals. I have to wonder when the concept... I wonder when the concept of, hey, don't kill people became a thing. Like, when did it become accepted that, hey, killing is bad, we probably shouldn't do that? Or they're just two cavemen together who one accidentally struck one guy across the head and just plopped over and like, well, he's no longer there anymore. I don't want to do that again. Joel says, depends on what cultural ideas have stuck around since the start of the culture itself. That's an interesting point to think about too, Joel. Like, what cultural ideas that started right as humanity became a thing just were there at that time but just no longer exist?
Better find me before I find you.
Like, was it a thing that you could not chop down trees because they looked beautiful? I'm making it up, of course. Like, was that a thing that people at the time says you do not cut down trees until people realized, hey, trees have wood, you can use it to build stuff? At some point, things like that, there has to have been occurrences like that. They're probably not documented, but it's still fun to speculate about nonetheless.
Attention.
That is an interesting idea, the idea of, oh, I accidentally knocked him upside the head, he no longer can move. So I guess I should no longer do that. That way people can continue moving and I can continue enjoying their presence. Speaking of trying to grasp cultural ideas, one of my favorite things that a podcast that I regularly listen to does is called Try Explaining That to a Caveman. Like, how much of what it goes on, like, things we have, like phones, technology, of all that, how could you explain what we have to a caveman? That's how you know if you're dealing with something important. If you could feasibly explain it to a caveman and they understand it, chances are it probably was a pretty important thing. Explain a gun to a caveman. Ooh, that's tough. Stone with stone and sticks with pellets in it. Shoot out stones. Fast stone pellets go into people, rendering them unable to move. Okay, I think I got the pellet part down. I just gotta figure out how to... Joel, magic stick that kill prey without touching prey.
1 minute until the ring closes, and everything here is gone for good.
Yeah, that's, yeah. Actually, speaking of which, Joel, I'm actually glad you brought that up. When did the concept of magic become a thing? When did someone look at something and go, that's magic, bruh?
Rings next door, 45.
At what point did a dude look at another dude and go, that's some magic? Was it looking at lightning and going, that's some magic?
Ring ain't far. Half of one.
Or was it when they saw a child being born, they went, that's some magic, bro? Or they saw rain falling from the sky and they thought, that's some magic, bro? Like, these are the questions that need answering. Joel says, probably. They had to have just called that something, bruh. Or they had to figure out that at some point, like, I'm sure the term usage of the word magic can probably be dated back, tracing, probably not precisely, but a relative idea. How about this, Joel? Could you explain YouTube to a caveman? And I'm sure the thought of me even asking that has got Joel like, well, how do I do that? I remember a time when I was back in middle school where a classmate said, hey, if I go back in time with a Nintendo DS, would they think I was a witch? And the teacher went, probably.
Champion.
I don't think you could explain YouTube to YouTubers.
Champion's out, huh?
Yeah, he probably couldn't. Okay, how about this, Joel? Could you explain a video to a caveman? Could you feasibly do that? Painting all wall that moves. I think you're on the right track with it, Joel. The funny part is that's essentially what a video is. To some degree. Just change the word wall and paint and you pretty much have what a video is. I believe the first video was of a horse race. Kind of, well, video. Just still images mixed together to give the illusion of movement. I'm pretty sure that was what's considered the first video. I could very easily be wrong, though. If someone just for some reason stumbles upon me having this big discussion on language, cultural ideas, and their history about that's a drone, they're probably gonna think I'm a major druggie.
Taking damage.
And no, people, I do not use drugs.
Recharging shields.
Joel says, I mean, Cole, your big philosophical discussions always just devolve into, what would a caveman do? No, Joel, that's not always true. When have any of our Kingdom Hearts discussions devolved into what a caveman would do? And ultimately, I'm not trying to talk like a caveman. Anyway. Caveman is a person at the most basic, uninnovated form. Joel says, I'm sure one time. See, though, that's the thing. Not always. Also, Joel, I highly doubt we're going to be able to stream Melody of Memory anytime soon, especially given the fact that it's a music-based game. I think what we should really be asking is, what would Jesus do? Joel, the problem with that is, like, half the shit that people say this is what Jesus would do would probably be something he would not actually do. He'd look to us like, yo, that's not what I would actually do. Why are y'all doing that? Come on now. Do not presume to speak the ways of the Lord.
Let's make ourselves some.
And that is what most people do, because what they think the Lord would actually do is probably not what the Lord would actually do. Remember, people, Jesus was the first liberal. Actually, that's probably not true, but... Actually, that's definitely not true, but anyway. I'm gonna take that. And probably waste it in the process. And Joel, I think, oh, that's the wrong way. That's the wrong way. Joel, I think a more intriguing question to ask instead of what would Jesus do would be, what would Zeus do? And I know Joel has to have a response to this. Other than having sex with the thing. Zeus would ask, can I do it? Yes. And 9 times out of 10, if he could do it, he'd do it. And if he couldn't do it, he'd still do it. Zeus, the ancient god rebel. The question is what he was rebelling against other than his father and the entire universe. Which I think is all-encompassing, but, you know. Joel says, I mean, 99% of Zeus' life is sex or killing. That is true. Oh, there's someone right near me.
We're already in the next ring. Good. More time to loot.
To be fair, how much of Greek mythology is not based around sex and killing?
Heads up. Dropping the
Zeus
bag.
was just the, what's the word?
Let's get some. Got a live one out there.
The real question is, what would Cthulhu do? That is a really good question. I do not know if, oh, not good, not good. I don't know if I would ever be truly equipped to answer that.
Tossing thermite.
Zeus was the OG Chad. Yeah, the OG problematic Chad. To be fair, Chad as a concept is problematic enough as it is, but, you know. Oh, someone's in there. There's some foes in this house. There's some foes. Not copyrighted. I am not singing WAMP. I am singing a cover. A cover. Do not get me, YouTube. Do not get me. Anyway.
Enemy in sight. Let's check out this.
Zeus with the OG bruh. Yeah, exactly. Also, real talk, WAP is a really fun song. I really like WAP. Yes, it's a song all about sex.
Spotted. Double timing it.
But still.
Thermite out. seen an arc star.
Enemy spotted.
We've got a minute until the ring closes. If you want it, bag it.
We got company, people.
Oh.
Damn it, that hurt.
Grenade.
Enemy here. Look out, enemy here. Enemy right here.
45 seconds. Grenade far.
I have eyes on the enemy. Look out. Right here.
Grenade far. Half of one.
I'm dead.
Too slow.
Well, that was pointless. Anyway. Anyway, WAP by Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. Great song. It is a quality song. And I cannot be convinced otherwise. Also, Apex has enabled crossplay, so if you're on the PC and you want to play some PS4 with some PS4 peeps, you can now do that. Or with Xbox people. And probably eventually PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X people. Or us people. Crossplay, the you do you of video games.
They only think they know what fear is.
That's actually, there's one. When did the idea of you do you become? When did that idea first seed? When was the whole I'm gonna go my own way? When did that become a thing?
Introducing your champion.
My shield, my life.
On this video, people, I may never be able to give you the answers you seek, but I will always be giving you questions that you will be wanting answers to. That I can absolutely be promising you I can provide. I don't answer the questions. I ask the questions you never thought to ask. Sometimes the best way to answer a question is to ask the right question.
Let's go over here.
Joel, the real question. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes answering the question is asking the real question. Oh, not good, not good, not good, not good. I'm dead. I'm dead. The real question is, what was I going for when I moved away from my team? That would be a good podcast idea. Asking the questions that have not been asked. Big brain energy. Thanks, Joel. Thank you. I appreciate that. Look, Joel, just because I accidentally ran a helicopter into a tree changes nothing. That would have been a smart play had I not ran the helicopter into a tree. Big difference. Joel asks, Cole, the biggest question people should ask more is, what would a monkey do? See, that's an interesting question because monkeys are actually rather smart in general.
It's a fine line. Avoid death as closely as possible. Body count.
And I don't know if there is a one-stop answer, which is why I think it's an ideal question to ponder. A monkey does not bother with the specifics, it bothers with survival. It does what it does in cases of survival.
I'm Jumpmaster. I can already smell the blood.
And sometimes if you're going to throw your shit at someone to distract them, you throw your shit at them to distract them. That's what you do.
Time to kill.
Monkeys, the original shit throwers. And you just know there's going to be that one person who, if I ever get popular, is going to watch this video like, actually the original shit throwers were this animal. And I'll be like, well, okay. I have no actual monkeys are the OG trolls. Thank you, Joel. Yes, they are the OG trolls. Except when they find out that trolls may or may not have actually existed. You know, in terms of the fantasy aspect, I can see trolls being an actual thing. Or having been an actual thing in the past. I know there's no sort of scientific evidence for that. But it's totally possible that they could have. I mean, biologically they could have been a thing.
Leaving a gas trap behind. Beware, I've added a variable.
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown.
We find ourselves inside the next ring. Firing. Reloading.
Alright, enemy down. Reloading.
Throwing a thermite. Hugstar out. Reloading.
And I probably did no damage to those people. Yep, I didn't.
Got one here. Back here.
Taking fire. Subject down.
This is why I suck with snipers.
Shields are recharging. Someone's gonna pay. Grenade. Reloading.
Come back if you're ever looking for a Mirage at 12.
I suck with sniper rifles in this game. I mean, Cole, at the end of the day, when in doubt, blame white people. That's my go-to for everything. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, white people. Always making things more difficult than it should be. And making things problematic. Actually, I just realized the last time I think I streamed Apex on this channel, I actually have a version where I win. This is going to be an absolute downgrade.
Championship is ours.
Hey, I can only go up from here.
Business is my pleasure.
I'm the nightmare.
Introducing your champion.
I love when the spotlight's on me.
I'm Jumpmaster. I can already smell the blood. Time to kill.
That is what's left of your legacy.
Can I throw this? Yes, I can. Oh crap, you can actually come up here.
Grappling.
I love this new, like, SMG. Energy SMG, so good.
That was quick. Jump drive in position.
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown.
Here I go.
That's a full energy LMG. Huh. And the energy weapons that they've added are really, really nice.
Evo shield here.
Thank
Level
you.
2. Attention. Ready to do some damage?
Kill leader.
Open up shop and shut him down.
There's a new kill leader, and it isn't me.
I can't hear anything.
Also, if I had any other video game news to talk about, I would absolutely talk about it. Unfortunately, not much in terms of what is currently ongoing, all things considered. Other than CD Projekt Red getting death threats for delaying Cyberpunk, even though that's not they technically can't control the date, and the date has been imposed on them by marketing and the higher ups. So yeah, don't send death threats to them because, in all honesty, it's not their. Also, just don't send death threats because you're an asshole if you do. Simple as that. Also, death threats are not a good way to get people to release a game any earlier. It didn't work for Star Wars, and I guarantee you it will not work for anything else. So just don't do it. Worked for the Snyder Cut, sadly. Well, it wasn't. Well, not only was it the death threats, but also everyone else just decided to jump in. But yes, death threats were there. But just as a rule of thumb, don't use death threats. And to be fair, Snyder was pretty gung-ho about that cut too, so the death threats probably didn't help.
Taking fire. Damn it. I have eyes on by an enemy.
Just you and me now. Don't hold me back. Throwing an frag out. Throwing a thermite.
Hey, I only killed someone. I only took the entire video for that to happen.
Get ready. It's zipline time.
The banner is mine.
Oh, did I kill 2 people?
Warning. Ring movement in progress.
Sweet. Some success. Ow.
Enemy taken down. The enemies are shooting at me. Reloading.
Come on, dude, you got this. You don't got this. Better than pretty much any game I've had today. But yeah, don't do death threats. Also, don't harass creators. Because 9 times out of 10, they will block you on any social media platform. Come to think of it, what DC movies are coming out other than the Snyder Cut of Justice League? I've completely lost track. Oh yeah, Suicide Squad's coming out. King Shark looks great. That's all I really have to say about it. It's Suicide Squad 2. I hope it's better than the first one. Oh yeah, Wonder Woman 2. Did that get pushed back or is that still going? Is that still on track to come out in November? I know that Bond is potentially being
I know what you're looking for.
yep, Batman. Actually, Batman got pushed back. That's coming out, I believe, I think it's coming out in 2022 now.
Come on, what are you waiting for? Let's do this.
Yeah, Bond might get picked up on Apple or another service, so I don't know. We will have to see. Whew.
This is your champion.
Still stoked for the Batman.
I'm currently at the top of my game.
Robert Pattinson.
I can already smell the blood.
It's gonna be great.
Stay out of my way.
Here goes nothing.
Oh, not good, not good, not good.
Evo shield here. Level 1.
Round 1.
I'm interested to see how the Wonder Woman comes out.
We're already in the ring.
I still have no gun. I have shields, but I have no gun.
Attention. First blood.
Smell that. First blood.
RE45 here.
This'll work. Wait, what? Really? Okay. Really, you land on the top, you didn't think to get off fast enough? Okay.
Someone's out there.
Yeah, not a surprise.
Faster, faster, faster.
Attention. There is a new kill leader.
I gotta say, speaking of language and whatnot, a part of me gets giddy at the fact that, oh, hey.
Arcstar out. Frag out.
Anyway, I am so giddy that Go Plus that Plus Ultra has become such a thing.
Go time. Arcstar.
You know what? Later.
We're in the ring, which means they're coming to us. Pick me up.
Really? Reloading. Down that one.
So close. Ugh. I think I'm gonna call it there, people. I just wanted to do this quick stream just because I hadn't done one in a while. Been fun. Hope to, maybe I'll do more of these soon. Maybe once this semester's over, you might see me do more of these again. So if everyone watches, thanks for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and do all that. And I am Nero Cole, and I will catch you later. Bye-bye.